Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast on this Tuesday, January 25th at 4 o'clock. This is season 2, episode 54 of my podcast. So thank you to everyone watching today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and later on Apple and Google Podcasts and my other audio platforms. I'm looking forward to speaking to my guest today. His name is Muki Hawkins. He's a sports director for Power FM 96.5 and WUFO 1080 AM in Buffalo, New York. And we're going to talk a little about his career in radio and also a little bit about the Buffalo Bills 2021 season and that heartbreaking game against Kansas City on Sunday night. If you guys could just give me a minute, I will bring on Muki, and I'm looking forward to speaking to my guest today. Just 1 second, and I will bring on Muki. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on?
Good. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, it's just sometimes with technology, I always like to double check. But hey, thank you so much for giving me some time today, Muki.
Oh, no problem, man. Hey, the pleasure's all mine.
So how's everybody in Buffalo coping right now?
Oh, it's still rough, man. You know what I mean? It's still rough. Tough 48 hours to deal with. I mean, it's going to take a while. It's definitely going to take a while, especially on how the game transpired. I mean, 10 seconds. Everybody want to talk about 13 seconds, but it took only 10 seconds for them to get down in field goal range. So, it's just kind of tough to deal with. It's too many woulda, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and, it's just too much left to ponder. But, that game should have been, easily the Bills' game to win. But it's tough. It's sad for the city right now.
I was going to say, I still put the Super Bowl 25 loss as the most devastating because that was a makeable 47-yard kick, and that was for the Lombardi Trophy. This loss, I would put this up even ahead of the Music City Miracle, just because this was against Kansas City, and this was a game, like the Tennessee game, they should have won that 22 years ago, but I think this loss is right up there with the first loss, with the Super Bowl loss.
I mean, we have a history of devastation. I mean, the way you just laid that down. I mean, the only hindsight of we're being on the opposite side of that is the comeback with Frank Wright against Houston when we were down 31 points, and we end up coming back and winning that game and going to the Super Bowl. But other than that, we've always been on the other side of the spectrum with devastating losses of games that we should have won. So I mean, this is just tough. I mean, you had the game in control. You controlled the outcome of that ball game, and we just let it slip away in 10 seconds for the way the offense played throughout the whole course of the game, and to let it just slip away in 10 seconds is just quite devastating. And, right now, I mean, it is tough. I mean, we talk about the fans, but what about the players? You know what I mean? That played that game. To feel that devastation, that hurt of just, I mean, people are still in shock right now, I mean, but the inevitable is the inevitable. They had to clean out their lockers yesterday, had their exit meetings, and, that's just the grim reality of it, it's right now, it's just tough. It's no other way to put it.
I was telling one of my friends this, and a lot of people might not agree with me. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'd rather go through a devastating loss like that than to miss the playoffs for a long stretch of period. And like, I know the Bills had a tough time there, 17 years without making the playoffs, but you know what? This team is on the right path, and they're having a little bit of heartache right now. But I do think the Bills will overcome this next year. And if you look at the Super Bowls teams of the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, they lost the AFC Championship in '88 to Cincinnati. and everybody's like, okay, this is a start. And then the following year, they lost a devastating game to the Browns at Old Municipal Stadium. I
Yeah.
think it was Ronnie Harmon that dropped a touchdown pass that would have won the game.
Oh, damn, Ronnie Harmon dropping that pass.
Yeah.
The very next play was an interception by Clay Matthews. So.
Yeah. So, and the Bills recovered from that and went to their 4th Super Bowl. So, I'm not writing them off yet. And I really think, like I said, Josh Allen has proven me wrong. I was one of his skeptics and critics, and I admit I was wrong about him. If he's not the best quarterback in football, he's 1B, like Mahomes and Allen, 1A and 1B.
Well, yeah, he's definitely up there. I mean, he's definitely up there. I mean, the way that he's developed, the way he's, grown into the player that he is. A lot of naysayers, not naysayers, but, once again, Johnson's a self-driven guy. So he blocks that out, and, he knows what he's gone through. We're talking about a guy who basically didn't have any offers, had to go to a junior college, and, pretty much had to. So he chose the University of Wyoming. And rest is pretty much history. But he continues to grow, continues to get better. And I'm excited to see what Josh Allen has in store for year 5 of his career.
Now, I was gonna say there's a lot of talk, but I haven't heard any. Is there any talk about McDermott might be possibly letting go, or is he pretty well secure in Buffalo as long as he wants to coach the team?
He's secure. He is secure. He's not going anywhere. He'll be the head coach here for quite a while. He's not going anywhere. I mean, you look at what he's done in record time. I mean, we suffered 17 seasons without making the playoffs before the McDermott being era began. And since Coach McDermott has been here, he's been in the playoffs 4 out of 5 seasons. So, I mean, this is his first stint as head coach. So there's obviously some learning points, and this is definitely one of them. So it's a lot to learn from this game. And, it's definitely going to make him a better coach going forward. But he's definitely not going anywhere. That's not even in the topic of discussion. That's not even a thought.
And I was going to say there will be a few changes with the coaching staff, most likely, with Leslie Frazier and Brian Dable. What's your thoughts on those two possibly leaving?
Well, I mean, by the looks of it and by the looks of the outcome of that football game, and it looks like Leslie Frazier may be sticking around. Dable, on the other hand, he's a hot commodity. Right now, he's looking like the front runner for the Giants position, but they have to interview Brian Flores on Thursday. So after Thursday, maybe you'll probably hear a hiring of some sort. 9 times out of 10, I think it's Dable going to the Giants because he's the only guy. He's the only offensive guy that they interviewed, and then the Giants' offense is dead last in the NFL. So that's where I feel that a landing spot for Coach Dable. I mean, he gets to stay in New York State. He is also a Western New Yorker himself, so his family doesn't have to rush to move, and he has kids that's in high school as well. So I think it's a better fit for him. But obviously, he's on the radar in Miami, and he's also on the radar in Chicago. Leslie Frazier is on the radar in Chicago too, but his stock dropped tremendously after 10 seconds.
I have to ask you this. They did win in October in Kansas City, 38-20. What was the biggest difference between the defense then and then the game on Sunday, if you don't mind me asking you that question?
Well, you had the services of Tre'Davious White.
That's true.
You had the services of Tre'Davious White. So with him being out there, it gives everybody else that, comfort to, to play in the scheme. He makes the scheme ticks, basically. It allows guys like Levi Wallace and the other DBs to, help in bracket and double coverage on the other side while he's playing more like man, on his side, on the boundary side. So, yeah, you definitely missed the services of Tre'Davious White out there.
I was going to say, and how's the cap situation for next year, Muki, with the Bills cap situation there?
Right now, the Bills they're not in the red, but they're not up top. They anywhere between $6 to $8 million, cap space. So there's going to be some restructuring. There may be some guys that could be potentially released to free up the cap, and we'll just have to see in the weeks to come how that's going to transpire.
Because I was thinking of guys like Jerry Hughes and Cole Beasley who may have played their last games with Buffalo.
Well, yeah, Jerry contract is up. Jerry
Okay.
Hughes' contract is up. Um, Beasley has 1 year remaining, and if you release Beasley, then that would free up anywhere between 5 to 6 million in cap space. So he's definitely a prime candidate to be a salary cap casualty. But you still kind of look in hindsight of what he is to this offense and what he is to Josh Allen at this point. So a lot of things to factor out in releasing Cole Beasley, but he's definitely top on that list when it comes to that.
And I was going to say, Gabriel Davis, he has to be the Bills' #2 receiver for next year or going into next year.
Well, that's obvious. That's quite evident the way he played. When teams are going to double Stephon Diggs all day, then you have a solid #2 emerging, and Gabriel Davis definitely showcased that. With the record-setting day. I mean, it's kind of shameful because nobody really is going to remember the day he had because of Kansas City winning the game. In such a dramatic fashion. So, yeah, he's definitely earned that spot to be the #2 guy. But the Bills are definitely going to need some receivers to compensate. I mean, if you bring Isaiah McKenzie back, Emmanuel Sanders, he still has another year left, but it's still up in the air if he's going to return or retire. So the Bills are definitely going to have to, fill some voids and fill some gaps in that receiver core. But they do have Isaiah Hodgins, draft. They do have Jake Kumaro, so they have some guys in the fold. But they're always looking to bring guys in to compete. So we'll just have to see what the offseason brings.
What about the tight end situation? Is Dawson Knox proven that he is a good #1, or do you think they might try to upgrade the tight end situation?
Well, Dawson Knox definitely proved that he had a breakout year with 11 touchdowns, and so he definitely had a breakout year. I still like Tommy Sweeney as a solid #2. So I don't really think the Bills even mess around with the tight end position at this point. I think they're kind of solid at the tight end position right now. They maybe could bring another veteran guy in at a league minimum price that can help block. But as far as being, overall a dynamic piece, Dawson Knox is that guy.
Okay. And last question I wanted to ask you before I get into some of your questions about your radio career. What's this Mitch Travinsky? Will he be back, or yes or no, or will he be leaving as a free agent?
Well, I mean, you got to wait and see if Dable gets a position. If Dable goes to the Giants, then obviously he's probably going to be heading to New York to compete for a position with Daniel Jones, or just be that insurance policy because he's familiar with Dable's scheme. He's know what he's looking for. So it's that familiarity and that continuity that he may potentially follow wherever Dable goes if he gets a head coaching position.
Yeah, because if he does leave, they're going to have to bring in an experienced backup for Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, or if everybody stays, then there's a possibility of him returning as well.
Okay. And as for the running back situation, do you think they'll keep status quo with Singletary and Moss? Singletary to me has come a long ways the last couple of months as a running back.
Well, yeah, I think they keep Singletary in for it. I'm just not sure. Um, I'm not sure with Zach Moss. I mean, he's under contract, but I just think that they didn't use him to his strong suits. Towards the end, the way that they use Singletary should be the same way they should be using Moss, or more of a downhill. That way he can play a little bit more behind his pads instead of a zone where you got to have patience and you got to have vision. And in the NFL, it's a different type of speed, and I think he struggled with that. So if you can just play him a little bit more downhill, then you'll see a better Zach Moss. So I'm not sure if the Bills would probably draft a running back. It's a possibility that they will, but I don't think that they're going to draft a running back, in the first 2 rounds. And they might go back into the third unless it's a guy that they're high on in the second that's available. Then you might see him pull the trigger. But other than that, the way that Devin Singletary has played as of late, how he has re-energized that offense and gave it the balance that they've been desperately lacking. I don't see, the Bills, reaching for a running back at this point.
Okay. And I'm just going to get to some questions as well, Mookie. So, first one I wanted to ask you, can you tell my audience here in Ontario just a little bit about yourself and when did you decide to pursue a career in broadcasting? I know you were a football high school coach as well in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, I kind of freelance. I've been doing broadcasting for about 10, 11 years. About 10, 11 years. I went out on my own and start producing my own shows. I come with a kind of like a Buffalo Sports Center where I go around and I'll go to the local games around here and I'll tape the games and then I'll interview the players and the coaches afterwards. And then, I'll go home and I'll chop it up, edit it, and do my play-by-play with it with the highlights. And then there you are. Then I'll blend in, what's going on in professional sports with it as well. I do the same thing with the little league football games. I tape it, I interview the coaches, I interview the players, and that'll come up like Sports Center. So I was doing that for quite a while, and I did color for Time Warner. I used to commentate games for Time Warner, for a few years, and I did a few draft specials, on Time Warner as well. And then I got into radio. I've been in the radio for the past 4 years. I'm the sports director here at Wufo 1080 AM on Power 96.5, and that gives me the access to, cover the Bills. So I've been covering the Bills for about 4 years now.
Wow. And I got a taste of broadcasting 2 years ago at the age of 47, doing some camera work. And then the camera work led me to Rogers TV. And then it led me to creating my own podcast. And now I'm hoping with doing Rogers TV as a camera operator and doing this podcast and getting great guests like yourself on. I'm hoping one day I get an opportunity in radio because this is something I really enjoy doing.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it, man. I can tell you that. It's been the experience and the people I've come across. It's been just a blessing just to even be in that position. So I'm excited every year. I get opportunity to cover Super Bowls, to cover the draft, All-Star games, things of that nature. So it gives me those opportunities to come across people that you've been seeing on TV and that's been playing on these sports teams that's in the business of what we're in. So, it gives you those opportunity to network with those kind of guys that you grew up watching and, now they're in the same business as you. So, it's just a blessing to be a part of something like that.
And I've been very lucky, like I said, to get guys like yourself and John Murphy and Bob Sochi from the Patriots. I have to be honest, the first few months I did my podcast, it wasn't very good, but I kept working at away at Mookie, doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And then I started getting guests come on, and everybody in this industry, the big names they've had on here,
Mhm.
and big names, including yourself, especially the Buffalo market. I have to be honest, out of all the cities in the States that have come on my podcast, the Buffalo guys are one of the best, like John Murphy and the guys from WGR and
Mhm.
550 and that, and yourself as well. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
So, okay. The second question is, where did you go to school, and did you have any mentor or mentors when you were breaking into radio?
Yeah, I went to Seneca. I went to Seneca Vocational High School. That's and I played football there. I had a few offers, but my grades wasn't that good. I got introduced to all that good stuff, and I had to go to a junior college and get on weight training program, and but I did earn my degree in liberal arts and science, phys ed. I wanted to be a coach, so that was my first degree, and got to make a decision on reference to what your career is. I ended up working for GM for about 12 years. They took me out of school, so they paid for it every time I went, and that's where my sports marketing and management degree kick off. Where I had a minor in journalism, so that's how that transpired as far as my education background. Mentors, yeah, I had Pat Freeman, who was the sports director at Wufo 1080 for over 25 years, basically mentored me, and he still continues to mentor me as I am the sports director today at Wufo.
Okay. And did you also do a little bit of volunteer internships as well?
Well, I volunteer with my own with my own produced shows. Like I said, I was Sportsqube TV. I started that in 2011, where I was just taping the little league football games, and I was blending that in with, with the pro stuff. I'll blend in little league highlights with NBA, NFL, Major League. I'll blend anything that was going on locally here in Buffalo with the pro stuff. So that's where I really got my start. As far as volunteering, that goes, that was my volunteering. As far as interns, I never interned anywhere. Yeah, it was just after that I was kind of recognized for, the things I did out in the community, and I have got some recommendations because, I've been knowing, Bills players for years. I used to live with one back in 1995 at Derek Holmes for 3 years. So that's how I kind of got familiar with the Shield, and just knowing the guys for all of this time. So and that's how I got into it. Ruben Brown actually the first one that got me into radio. We was on rec radio. We was on 520 AM. Man, about 15 years ago. So if anything, I interned there. And then, I got recognized, and, that's where Time Warner kicked in with, doing some play-by-play and some draft specials and stuff like that. So I owe a lot of this stuff to Ruben Brown. If it wasn't for Ruben Brown, I probably wouldn't be in this position.
One of my favorite offensive linemen. I'm an Eagles fan, but I remember when he played for the Bills, old number 79. And to me, I still believe in football teams being built on the O line and the D line. Those guys.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Okay. I was going to say, and this next question I was going to ask you, how did you end up becoming the sports director at Power FM and WFO, WUFO 1080 in Buffalo? How did that come about?
Well, my mentor, he resigned. He's naturally credentialed, so he moved on to better things, and getting his brand a little bit more broader, and that opened the door for me to come right in. I mean, I'm just waiting in the wings, and the CEO, Miss Sheila Brown, presented me with that opportunity once Pat Freeman resigned. But Pat continues to mentor me to this day. He still covers out of Rochester, and he guides me through every step, whether we're on the road at games or whether we still at Bills games.
And one thing I've learned from not just yourself, but a lot of my other guests too, is building contacts. And in most cases, mentors are important as well. But the building up contacts is huge in this industry.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. How the old saying goes: is not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? So, I think I kind of know a few guys. I'm in the sauce a little bit, CDP.
Okay, no problem. What I was going to say, and how I even got into broadcasting or doing this was just I was volunteering with a semi-pro basketball team here. They needed a camera operator. I'd never done camera work or broadcasting before, and the producer liked my work. They actually paid me for doing a half a game, and then the one of the guys referred me to Rogers TV, and then that's how it all led to the podcast. It's just funny how you being in the right place at the right time and knowing somebody.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's kind of like how with me, I host the Little League Nationals down in Florida every year. This is about like our 10th year doing that, and me being, like I said, I was producing my own shows. I'm coaching Little League, and this is the first year that we were going down to Florida to compete. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to do a documentary on this. So it's me, and I have my camera guys down, and we're just taping the whole trip, and leading up to that point. And once we got there, um, the founding fathers of the United Youth Football was like, hey, these are my guys right here. So everything is just history. I got up, and I've been hosting ever since. And they take good care of me every year. They fly me out. They take care of my accommodations, and they pay me pretty well too. So I've been doing that for 10 years as well. So get an opportunity to shoot down to Florida in December every year, leave up out of this cold weather. So like I said, I'm just blessed for anything that's just coming my way. So you're right. You never know, when that time can come, but you just got to be, you just got to be there for it. You got to be there for it, and that's the key.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say, a lot of people are like, "Oh, podcast at home is easy working at," but you know what? It's not. To me, I have to produce my shows. I have to book guests. I have to coordinate my schedule with my guest schedule, and sometimes guests have emergencies or situations where they have to cancel. So people think it's easy to do a podcast, but to me, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work in anything, you do when it
Hmm.
comes to this here. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. What I mean, it may seem easy to most people, but it's not easy. It's a lot of work, man. It's definitely a lot of work. But if you love it,
Yeah.
then it really don't matter.
Absolutely, and like I said, working midnights at my other job, I just make time in the daytime. It works out better for me working overnights and then being able to get up in the afternoon and do my podcast. So, but this is something I really enjoy doing, and I shouldn't say it's work. It's something I really enjoy doing, and I have a passion for. And I love meeting new people and asking questions and
Mhm.
building up contacts. And I've even made some friendships out of doing this podcast as well.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You want to build those friendships up, man, because you never know, you know, how that can how that can grow into something. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to build those relationships, and you never, and like I said, it's not what you know, it's who you know in this business. So you just
True.
got to keep persevering and keep it going, and good things will happen.
Keep grinding away. So, the next question I was going to ask you, Mookie, is what is it like working in the Buffalo market? Because we all know they love the Bills, the Sabres, the Bisons, the Bandits. Overall, what's it like working in that market?
Oh, it's great. I mean, Buffalo has, the best fans in the world. And we all know what Bills Mafia brings to the table. We love our Sabres, but they gotta get off the shit right now. But I think Granato's going to do a good job in the years to come. He's just trying to put his stamp on his team right now, and when all the pieces come together, or hopefully that'll be next year with the emergence of Owen Power and other guys coming from the minors, you'll see a better Sabres team. I cover the Sabres as well too. So, um, you know, Buffalo market is, I love the Buffalo market. It takes good care of me.
I almost consider Buffalo like a Canadian city because you guys love beer, you love wings, you love your hockey, you love your football. And like I said, before the pandemic, I was coming over to the Buffalo area once a month, either for shopping or sporting events. And I can see why a lot of athletes like to retire in the Buffalo area.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at guys like Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, you would figure they would go somewhere where it's warm and, retire. But these guys live right here. Actually, Thurman Thomas has his foundation group right next to our radio station.
Wow.
So I mean, yeah, those guys they're here. They're true Buffalonians, and um, the fans just love that. You know what I mean? Just you can see in that last home game against the Patriots when Jim Kelly and Thurman came out and lead the charge, how the fans was so pumped up. The game was pretty much over after Jim Kelly dropped the mic. So, and, hey, they are true Buffalonians, and they are definitely ambassadors of the city.
I was gonna say, being an Eagles fan, we've been lucky to win that Super Bowl against New England in '52. But you know what? I really do believe in the next year or two, Buffalo will get their Super Bowl win. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll get over that hump. They'll get over that hump. I wish I had a chance to talk with Coach. There was so many people in the presser today wanting to talk to him. I didn't get an opportunity, but I'll get a one-on-one with Coach. I'm definitely going to talk with Brandon Bean tomorrow. So I'll get my point across in reference to what I think, what's going to happen with the Bills going forward, especially this offseason with General Manager Bean.
And McDermott was with the Eagles from '99 to 2010, and he actually started with the Eagles as an intern. Worked his way up on the Eagles, and
Mhm.
he learned a lot from Andy Reid. So
Yeah, you learned a lot from Andy Reid. You got to get over that hump against Andy Reid, man. I know this 10-second thing is going to eat at him, eat at him, eat at him, eat at him, and the only thing that's going to do is just make him a more better and sharper coach going forward. And you're right, CDP. They're going to get over that hump eventually. You know what I
they
mean? They're
will.
going to get over that hump eventually. It's just like Josh said yesterday. It's just not their time.
Yeah.
Just put it in perspective and say, hey, man, it just no matter what the outcome or no matter how everything went down Sunday night, it just wasn't our time. It just wasn't meant to be. It's not our time. You know,
And then people were saying home field, but you know what? Home field advantage is not like it used to be back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even the 90s. Because look at all the road teams. So you know what? And it wasn't like the Bills couldn't win in Kansas City. They already had proven it earlier in the year. So it's just a matter of, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the Bills do need to get that AFC the next matchup with them next year in Buffalo, or
it
do you
would be
think?
nice. It would be nice for the boost of confidence. It's always, you want to play in your backyard for it. I mean, it didn't mean anything because when you look at how the Bills' offense just went down the field on converted third downs, converted fourth downs with touchdowns. So, you know, Josh is used to that type of crowd noise. So, I mean, it really don't matter, but it kind of do matter. You know what I mean? Just for the psyche. You know what I mean? Just for the psychiness of things. And, you always want to have that opportunity to do it in front of your home fans than opposed to doing it on the road. So,
Yeah.
that's where I think that comes into play. But when you really look at it, look at the number one seeds of this year.
Yep.
Both of them, they got that
Gone.
first round bye, and
Yeah.
now it's bye bye.
And
So
they didn't even win a game. So I tell Bills fans, look, you beat New England, you got to the divisional round. Obviously, you're disappointed you didn't win it, but um, I still think the season was fairly a success for the Bills.
oh yeah, it was success. I mean, everybody wanted to, for them to just pick up where they left off last year, winning 13 games, and then looking at the type of schedule they had coming into this season, you figured that the Bills would duplicate, at least another 13 win season. But you can't look at it that way. You can't look at it that way. Every season is different.
Hmm.
Players come, players go, and then it's just you got to play the game. You still got to play the game. So it really is no runaway team this year. Everybody was still like in the middle of the pack. Everybody lost to a team they shouldn't have,
True.
So I mean, that's just how it goes. So, now we're moving on to another season. Even though it's a Final Four that's still out there, but right now the Bills are focusing on next season at this point.
Definitely. Okay. Are you still okay for a few more minutes,
Oh,
Mookie?
sure, yeah.
Okay, no problem. Next question I wanted to ask you: what is your most memorable story in an interview you've done so far?
Hmm. Most memorable story. I mean, I always have, every time I get the chance to interview Josh, it's always something memorable. It's always going to be something out of me in the Josh Allen, presser. I'm always going to say something or he's going to give me good content, or we're going to get a good laugh out of something. I would say my most memorable interview is always with Josh Allen, any chance I get. Story. I think that's still yet to come. I think that is still yet to come, my most memorable story.
I
I
think
write stories, but my most memorable one is yet to come.
I think it will be in another year from now with the
Yeah.
Bills. And as for the Sabres, I'm a hockey fan too. They are on the right path with Jack Quinn, Owen Powell, Darlene. They just have to, like I said, they've got stability now with the GM and coach, and that's what the Bills have finally have. For many years, as you know, the Bills went through GMs and coaches and assistant coaches, and stability is so important to the success of a franchise.
Yeah, it's definitely important. And, I think that, the Sabres are slowly but surely, getting those elements in their building. You look at GM Kevin Adams, he's a guy that played the game, knows the game. He knows what to look for. You look at Granado on how he earned the respect of his players. He knows X and O's. And, he relates. He speaks their language. So, like I said, it's just a matter of time before the Sabres really turn things around. But most importantly, they need to get a damn goalie. All right,
Yes,
get
they
a
did.
damn
Yep,
goalie. Okay, we got everything else just about, but get you a damn goalie.
goalie.
Somebody
It's,
that
it's,
can
it's the
defend.
same in the NFL with the quarterback. Until you get a franchise quarterback, your team, unless it's Tampa Bay or I know with 1 year, what was it? The Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2000, but Trent Dilfer. Very unusual. You're going to win a Super Bowl with an average quarterback. So I think with the Sabres, it starts with goaltending. Same with football and that. So
No doubt.
okay, and you've already answered most of this question about the 21-21 Bills. What's it like covering the team as the Bills beat reporter, and how with the players? Is it when you talk to them, does it take a little while to build a rapport with them, or does it just depend on each player?
Oh no, I don't have no problem building rapport with those guys. I have great rapport with each and every last one of them. I just about have a nickname for each and every last one of them. It's exciting every time I get the opportunity to cover those guys or get in the Zoom room or get to interview in person. I'm just having a great time of doing it this past 4 years, and just making my mark in the game. So I don't have a problem on building rapport. I think that kind of comes naturally for me, so I don't have a problem, doing that. That really comes natural. Then, like I said, I know the guys. I know the guys, outside of the building. So, that stuff, I'm comfortable to the point where I can ask them just about anything and get a response because, we talk outside the field. So, we have a
And
relationship. We have a relationship with a handful of guys, outside what you see in the Zooms.
because I find even with the podcast, it's important too to build rapport with your guests and then build trust with them, and that way they'll want to come back on your show again in the future.
Yeah, that's key. That's always key. And when I first started out, I would always, let them know the questions that I'm going to ask them.
Hmm.
I never want to catch a guy off guard. You know what I
Guard.
mean?
Yeah.
So I would let them know, hey, these are questions I'm going to ask, and if you don't like it, I won't ask you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I give them a fair opportunity instead of when the cameras and lights click on, we live, and I'm asking them something, and I catch them off guard. You're not never going to get another interview with that guy, and that guy might go and tell the next guy like, hey, you don't want to
Yeah.
interview with that guy. So
Definitely.
you
Yeah.
always want to give them that courtesy of letting them know what you're going to ask them before the camera actually comes on. So that was something, you know I don't know, I mean, that is something that I always want, that I always did, and I continue to do. And you gain respect that way, and then it gives them that comfort to know, and you build trust with them. You build trust to the point where you got that rapport, and they're going to be always open and eager to answer any question that you present them.
It's like with John Murphy, I never thought I would ever get him on my podcast a year ago, but he said, sure, not no problem. The reason he came on is because I had Bob Sochi, the voice of the Patriots, on, and I think John was okay with coming on with me, and I just basically wanted to talk to him a little bit about his career and about the Bills 2020 season, and even with Chuck Swirsky, there's when I had him on from the Bulls last year,
Mhm.
it was during the off season, and there was free agency he couldn't talk about. So I agree with you on that, Mookie, 100%. I try to talk to my guests ahead of time. This is what I'm looking to talk about. If please let me know if there's any subjects that you want me to avoid or whatever. I try to respect my guests' wishes on the podcast and just try to make it a fun podcast for them to come on.
Absolutely, man. Because you going want them to come back on at some other time down the line. So you definitely want to give them that courtesy.
Okay, and I just got a couple quick questions, and we'll wrap this up. Are you okay for about 5 more minutes?
Hey, man, I'm with
Okay.
it.
No problem. What's a normal day like as a sports director at Power FM and WUFO 1080 in Buffalo?
Well, a normal day is, flipping up my emails to see, what's in place for me for the day. First and foremost, is Bills and Sabres. I'm getting emails about practice and who to interview and what time I can come to practice or games or, things of that nature. And on the flip side with the Buffalo Bills as well, that comes through. And then, it's just basically, I have 3 shows on Wufo. I'm on Monday nights and Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. to 11. And I do my Sunday show at 6 to 7. So, it's basically just preparing for those 3 shows on the week to week. Just lining, like you said, just lining up your guests, just formatting what I'm going to discuss on those 3 shows. But like I said, it's not a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoy doing this.
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
fun doing it, you know what I mean? So it's not a job to me. I just enjoy doing, and covering sports, and it's just a blessing for me to get this opportunity to, have that platform where I can, go to these games and speak with these athletes and, and build that rapport and that relationship with those guys. So it's not a job to me, man. It's fun. It's fun. I'm excited every day I wake up. other opportunities that I'm blessed with. So that's what it's like, man. A day in the life being the sports director at Wufo, and right now I'm preparing myself to go to the Super Bowl. So that's another thing.
Awesome.
That comes with the territory.
That's awesome. I was gonna say, and I love hearing my guest stories and that because it encourages me too. Because I'm fighting the odds being 49, but you know what? Everybody's telling me to forget the age thing and just keep grinding away at
Oh
this.
yeah,
And
forget the age thing, bro. Forget the age don't
yeah,
matter. The age
you
don't
def-
matter unless ESPN and stuff like that. They're looking for a
yeah,
younger or anywhere between 25 and 35 and all
yeah.
of that stuff. But I wouldn't don't let the age thing bother you, man. I'm up there myself.
Okay. I was gonna say, and then just two quick questions. This one, I had to ask you this anyways, Mookie. What are your picks for the NFL Conference Championships games, and who do you see meeting for Super Bowl 56, I believe, in LA?
I hate to say Kansas City, what they did. They know what they did. But I just don't think Cincinnati will have enough to go into Arrowhead and beat Kansas City. And we all know what Cincinnati did a few weeks ago in Cincinnati when they clinched the division. So I guess that's some motivation for Kansas City to go out there and prove and hold home court, if you will. So I'm going to say Kansas City comes out. And I don't want Cincinnati to go in there and beat them because I want the Bills to go to knock them off next year. So I'm going to say Kansas City,
Okay,
and then I'm going to say the Rams.
that's
Kansas
a
City
tough
and the
match.
Rams.
Rams. Wow.
It's
Um,
it's a tough matchup. It's a
it
division
is.
opponent, but at the end of the day, I think that the Rams just got too much firepower. And then for the sake of playing at home and Super Bowl at home, I think that gives them that extra incentive to go out there and get the job done versus the 49ers.
What I find interesting about that series is the Niners have beaten them 6 straight times.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you, I can't disagree with the Rams pick, but my only concern is Matt Stafford. Is he going to have a game where he breaks down? Because I still don't totally trust him.
Well, everybody
In a game.
said that Josh Allen was going to, regress, and look what
That's
happened to
true.
that. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
So
So
can't be
that's true.
praying on people's downfalls, man. He didn't let you down last week. So
No,
I
he
don't.
came through. Yeah,
Yeah. So
definitely.
San Fran secondary isn't that great, So I don't think the way that defense is playing right now, I don't think Jimmy G it has the willpower to will the San Fran to a Super Bowl. Now we all know how they got there last game on special teams.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen again. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? They're not going to just all of a sudden their special teams is going to carry them on their back and get them to a Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. San Fran is going to have to score points against this high-powered Ram offense. And I don't know if OBJ played the last time, versus San Fran or whatever the case may be, but he can prove to be that difference. And this is a year that the Rams went all in by getting OBJ and Von Miller. So it's Super Bowl or bust for those guys, and I believe they go out and get the job done.
I can't disagree with you. The Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but like I said, anything can happen on any given Sunday. I've learned that in sports.
No doubt. Yeah, it's
Definitely.
funny. Hey, anything can happen in 10 seconds, let alone four
Yeah.
quarters.
But you know what? Like I said, that's just going to be fuel for the Bills next year as well. So, but that I have to admit, as an Eagles fan, that is one of the best playoff games I've ever seen in my life. And you'll never see 25 points in what, 2 minutes again?
Yeah, that's unheard of. I mean, there was so many people that the ratings is off the roof for that game. So I'm quite sure at some point, damn, I gotta check the schedule. I don't know if Kansas City is on the schedule at all this year, but
Yes, they are. Yes, Buffalo's in Kansas City next year.
okay, well there you have it. That's going to be probably the most highly anticipated game and the most watched game. That game is not going to be a regular TV game. That's going to be either a Sunday night game or a Monday night game. I'm quite sure of that. So, but we'll just have to wait and see what lies ahead for our Buffalo Bills. But Kansas City moves on. The quest for their Super Bowl, continues this week versus Cincinnati. And that is, I don't want to pick them because they beat my Bills. I'm going to be realistic here and say Kansas City and the Rams in the Super Bowl. But I'm going to
Who
say
wins
the
it?
Rams. The Rams pull it off. The Rams will win
Wow.
Super Bowl 56.
And Matt Stafford gets his Super Bowl after all those years with the Lions.
Yep. Defense is gonna win that game.
I got to go with the Chiefs because of Andy Reid. I'm an Eagles fan. I love Andy Reid. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. And I think he really needs a second Super Bowl to cement his legacy because he's had so many great teams in Philly and in Kansas City. And to me, so I'm going to go with Chiefs over the Rams, but it's going to be by 3 points.
Ooh, interesting.
It's going to come down to a field goal, just like the most of these playoff games.
Yeah, they've been some good ones, man. The NFL definitely got it right this season, and there's been some great playoff games, and hopefully it could be some more great ones this week.
Definitely. And last question, I'm going to wrap it up for you, Mookie. Any advice, not just for me, but for those watching or listening, looking to pursue a career in broadcasting, TV, radio, and where can my audience find you again on social media and your radio shows at night they can listen to on the internet?
Well, you can find me at Wufo Sports on Twitter. I'm on Twitter for the most part. If you want to hit me up on Facebook, it's Muki Hawkins, Muki Hawkins, Bills Beat. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at WUFO1080 Muki. And then, like I said before, I'm always on Twitter at Wufo Sports. Um, if you're looking to pursue a career in TV and broadcasting, just find what works for you. Find what works for you. People love originality, and some people don't like it. I mean, some people don't like it because they're set in their ways, and their upbringing in the game is different to how you see it. So just be yourself, be original, and find what works for you. And like I said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So if you have personality, if you have personality, people draw to that. You can use that, as your advantage as well. So, if you're looking to get into it, just be yourself and always apply because you got to do that. It's not somebody's going to catch you walking down the street, even though that kind of like happened to me.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. That's going to happen every day. So if you're looking to pursue yourself, just go hard, stay true to what you believe in, and just have at it, just attack it, and find out what really works for you, and just go and do it, and people is going to recognize your work for what it is, and good things that happen.
Yeah, and even doing camera work with Rogers TV for the Ontario Hockey League Guelph Storm, which is a feeder league for the NHL.
Mhm.
My producer has really been great with me, and it's a nice feeling when they use my work on the scoreboard or on their website, and that's what I'm doing with my podcast. This is like my 150th podcast in less than 2 years, and
Wow.
I really enjoyed doing this, and I've been very lucky to get great guests on, and I really enjoyed talking to you, Mookie, about the Bills and your how you started up. And I hope to have you back on again in the future as a guest.
Not a problem, CDP. Just let me know, man. I got you.
Okay, well, I hope you have a great night, and I'm looking forward to the games on Sunday. And we'll definitely keep in touch on social media, and I hope you can take some pictures at the stadium out in Los Angeles because it looks like amazing.
Oh man, yeah, I can't wait to get out there. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a lot of pictures and just give everybody that experience on what that Super Bowl experience would be like the entire week leading up to the game.
Okay, all right. Well, you have a great night, Mookie, and thank you again for coming on live with CDP, and we'll keep in touch.
All right, my guy, be well.
You too. Thanks, buddy. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast today with Muki Hawkins from Power FM 96.5 in Buffalo and WUFO 1080 in Buffalo as well. Guys, just to let you know, my next live with CDP podcast is going to be Wednesday, tomorrow night, January 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern. My guest is Mike Hogan, the manager of communications and the longtime radio play-by-play voice of the CFL's Toronto Argonauts. And Mike and I are going to talk a little bit about the 2021 Toronto Argonauts season, some CFL football, and Mike Hogan's also a big Philadelphia Eagle fan. So we're going to talk to Mike a little bit about the Eagles and how they can go forward in 2022 with quarterback Jalen Hurts as well. And also, guys, just to let you know, you guys can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter at Chris D. Pame, Instagram, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Chris Pame, as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn, guys, if you want to add me on LinkedIn. And I post all my audio podcasts on my LinkedIn page as well. Anybody wants to email me can email me at cpame19@gmail.com. And also, guys, I do this every podcast show. Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded onto Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn. And I just want to say thank you to everyone watching on my YouTube channel, Facebook Live, and Twitter as well today. And also, guys, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP, and I'll be posting another video on there tomorrow afternoon as well. And let's see, guys, I got some other news for you. Let's see, as of January 31st, for their first 3 home games at the Sleeman Center in February, the Gold Storm can have up to 500 fans in the arena. And by February 21st, if things go well in Ontario, the Storm can have 50% capacity again as well. And speaking of the Gold Storm, the Storm are back home on Friday, January 28th at 7:30 at the Sleeman Center against the Windsor Spitfires. I'll be doing camera work again for Rogers TV. It will be on CJOY 1460 as well with Larry Malott. Then the Storm are in Owen Sound this Saturday to take on the Attack. Saturday, January 30th at 7:30 at the Bayshore Arena as well. And let's see, guys, just before I wrap it up, New Orleans head coach Sean Payton has informed the Saints he's stepping away as head coach as his 16-year era ends in New Orleans. Payton is not necessarily retiring, but may return to the NFL after a break. And he had 16 great years with the Saints and a Super Bowl win with Drew Brees as well. And I'm going to wrap it up soon. The NFL Conference Championships, as me and Muki were talking about, are this Sunday coming up, January 30th, Cincinnati at Kansas City. I'm picking the Chiefs over the Bengals, 3 p.m. kickoff on CBS, and the Niners at the Rams at 6:30 kickoff on Fox TV with Buck and Aikman. I'm picking the Rams to win this game, like I was talking to Mookie about, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners win this game because the Niners have shocked a lot of people this year. They shocked the Packers right in Lambeau in bad weather. So, and the Niners have beaten the Rams 6 straight times. And the Niners do have Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, and they do have a good running game, but they do have some guys beat up as well. But it's going to come down to San Francisco's offensive line and defensive line. Can the O-line protect Jimmy G against the Rams pass rush, which is great? And can their front four with led by Nick Bosa get to Matt Stafford? So I think turnovers are going to be key in this game, but I got to go with the Rams in the Chiefs to meet in Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles as well. And before I go again, guys, I'm just going to put down his Twitter page. You can check out Muki Hawkins on power96.5radio.com. And also, you guys can follow him on Twitter at WUFO Sports as well. So, again, I really want to say thank you to Muki for coming on today and talking about his career in radio and talking some Buffalo Bills football. Devastating loss, but the Bills will be back. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call this a podcast, but I just want to say thank you again to Muki for coming on. Everybody watching this live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and also on my audio platforms as well. Please check me out tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Mike Hogan from the Toronto Argonauts will come on and we'll talk some Argonaut football and the CFL season, and we'll talk some Philadelphia Eagles football because Mike's a huge Eagles fan like I am. So I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP podcast. Thank you for watching and listening.